So Mallika, when you started Vex Ed India, you started it via your Instagram handle, right? So was it like a very well thought of decision कि भाई Instagram से शुरू करना है, वहाँ पे मुझे मेरी audience मिलेगी, इसलिए you started with Instagram, or you just started it because you were very convinced about your idea and your initiative?
Well, actually both. If I had to, briefly put this, I'd just simply say we know a lot of millennials, youth, actually quite people from all generations are on Instagram, right? So if you're there, why not get some education out of it? Like, you're anyway going to be scrolling posts and all of that, reels too. So why not, learn something from it, actually unlearn and then relearn, because there's quite a lot that needs to be unlearned. So yeah, that was the idea. And pretty much it actually. We knew that our target audience was there. We knew that a lot of people there are curious and may find misleading sources on the internet. So
Instagram.
Right.
You also have other multiple mediums as well.
Right. We have our accounts, established social media presence on quite a lot of other accounts. We have our own website as well. But our activity, our presence is most loud on Instagram.
Even when you talk about, so what is the education that Vex Ed India provides?
All right. So when I say sex education, as I mentioned, the notion that sex education is solely about the act of sex, intercourse. What is it all about? But there's way more to it than just that. It begins with basic things like the difference between sex and gender, which today a lot of people don't know. It is used interchangeably. How one is a spectrum, how gender can not be binary, how you need to validate people, how we need to validate people's existence, whatever gender they are, irrespective of gender, as we say, irrespective of whatever caste, creed they belong to. So there's that. We talk about the LGBTQIA community. We talk about the biology of sex, what menstruation is, what the anatomy of the reproductive systems. We talk about a lot of other STDs, infections, diseases that come along with this. Another very, very, very important aspect that we cover is body rights. Body rights, body positivity, and consent, actually, because that kind of overlaps with this entire aspect. And it's very important that people respect others' body rights. People own their own body rights, and only then, what had triggered us initially, the crime rate in India. We believe the demographics can improve only if such concepts are introduced bachpan se, where people are taught about what are relationships, what are abusive relationships, what are toxic relationships, what are healthy relationships, how can you make your relationships healthy, and all of these aspects. So there's quite a lot to sex education, not just sex.
Not just sex, yeah, right. It's not just only about how will you enjoy the act.
Right.
I think it would also, this page would, and the initiative would help not only in terms of the rape culture in India and about body positivity, but it will also go ahead with mental and emotional health connected with such incidences. Like a recent survey in the UK said that majorly all women in UK have been molested at least once in their life, and I'm pretty sure if such a survey was conducted in India, we would all end up saying that only, that major women in India have either been eve teased or molested, and as we all know, it probably comes in from the family, most of us. So yeah, I think it would also help a lot of youth to have that courage to speak about if there is an abuse happening against them, and give them the courage to speak about it at the right time rather than later in their adulthood.
Right. So that is exactly what Vex Ed is all about. When we say we want to create a safe space, we want to be able to create a platform where people feel safe to talk about, to ask their questions. So say for example, it is Sunday today, and we do Sex Ed Sundays on our Instagram, on our page, Vex Ed India. So 40-50% of the questions are usually about masturbation, right? And that is a very not spoken topic, not spoken of very much. And no questions like, is it normal to masturbate? Is it okay if I masturbate this frequently? Will I get blind if I masturbate? Will this happen? Yeah, the kind of myths, the kind of notions people have. You don't want me to get to the kind of questions you receive, because people have associated this with all sorts of things. Now, while
But
some
that's
people,
very weird.
I mean, we find it weird because maybe we have, exposure to some kind of knowledge. But in the, again, as I mentioned, in the sex negative culture that we have, where people are not allowed to even, bring up such words, say things like, masturbation, menstruation, you're practically, a bad person if you say such things. If you're born and brought up in a culture like that, you are bound to have such myths. Nobody has ever spoken to you about this. There are a lot of, misleading, misguiding sources on internet, magazines and all of that, which, could tell you things like, cancer ho jayega, masturbate kiya to kuch nikal ke bahar aa jayega. So, such things really need to be parked aside. And that is what we aim to do at, especially on our Instagram, because there the questions are anonymous. Instagram has a lot of these features where, we can be putting up stories like that. So this is where they ask us questions and we go ahead and answer them anonymously. They ask us questions anonymously and we answer them as Vex Ed India.
Yes.
So yeah, that is what safe space means.
But that is, I think, a more impactful manner to do it. Instead of having, I'm not taking names over here, but instead of having just one column in a leading newspaper where people ask expert questions, then they get printed. And those majorly revolve around diseases. I remember this newspaper doing it, but when I was in college. But yeah, this is much more interactive, and where they can actually, without having the fear that कोई जान जाएगा. जैसे I recently kept a post of लोग क्या कहेंगे.
Right.
To be away from it and still get their doubts cleared. It's amazing.